What up, world? Welcome to Beneath the Bricks podcast powered by Onyx Legacy Group, where we are going to talk about the deals today. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Beneath the Bricks podcast. I'm your boy Dream Motivates, along with these kings in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself, guys. Let everybody know who you are, what you got going on. Let's get it.
Hey, I'm Mark Allen, Managing Principal of Onyx Legacy Group.
Courtland Charles, Managing Principal at Onyx Legacy Group.
Aaron Jackson, Director of Retail, Onyx Legacy Group.
Yo, that literally sounded like, you know how the football players come on? But listen, guys, we're going to have some fun today. Definitely want to talk about the deals, the shmoney, exactly how we get into it. Erase all, things that you heard or kind of seen prior to when you do business with our people. Let there be no confusion. There has been no, if there was a ball that was dropped, I definitely know that Mark Allen probably picked that up and ran for the touchdown. I know Courtland came through and dunked it before it was 32 seconds left in the game. And I know for a fact, Aaron Jackson ain't playing no games on that tennis court. Love 30. But no, most definitely
40, man, love 40. 40 love.
Let's keep it right. Yeah. But let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about let's go ahead and have a whole highlight reel. No, let's the highlight reel. What was been so far? You guys been here for 1 year. Congratulations on your 1 year anniversary. Let's talk about a highlight reel. What was the first what is it? 3-point shot, with 22 seconds left in the game from Steph Curry, and who did it? What happened?
Gotta go with Veranda Court in terms of at Onyx.
Uh-oh.
So, we've had Onyx for a year. And so Veranda Court was brought to us by a friend in the business. The owner was 83 years old. He lived at the property. It was all one-bedroom property, 1980s construction. And, the property had 8 units that had fire damage, and they were being renovated through the insurance. There was a lot of drug activity at the property. They had a lookout, the whole nine, you know what I'm saying? And so it was cars that were on bricks and the whole nine. It was like something from TV.
Oh, man. So what happened? Like, as the plot thickens.
Yeah, so the gentleman didn't want us to go to the market with the deal. He didn't want to list it. And so we kind of looked at it. I mean, his financials were handwritten. His office was messy. The tenants weren't paying rent. They weren't, paying for their own electricity or water or anything. And it was separately metered, but he was, they would just tell him what they was going to do and what they wouldn't do. That the tenants were running that property.
And was Aaron, or were you?
No, I wasn't. Well, I don't know if I was there, but I wasn't a part of that deal. I'm a retail guy. I stay away from that multifamily.
Okay.
For reasons like this.
Okay, so Courtland came in with the.
Oh,
yeah. So how did it end?
Courtland, you want to speak to it?
Yeah. So after looking at the deal a little bit, we decided to kind of just do something kind of unconventional and put it under contract as if we were going to purchase the asset ourselves, since he didn't want us to go to market. But we knew with our relationships in the business that we could find someone to purchase the asset, right? And so toured it with a few groups. We had a lot of interest, and one gentleman stepped up to the plate, and I think we got the deal under contract after some negotiations, right at about 3.4 million, I believe.
How many units?
This was 48 units. And Dream, walk with me. I mean, it was running pretty bad. So bad that we were touring the asset with an investment group one day, and the lady came outside. She was like, hey, after we looked at one of the units, she came outside and said, hey, the tenants have put a hole through the wall and they're reaching into my closet and trying to grab stuff.
Are you
I'm serious. I'm serious.
Now, is this 100% occupancy right now?
Oh, no.
Nah, he was probably at about 60% occupancy.
Okay, so you have 40% just vacant.
Yeah. Well, not
it wasn't
really.
vacant.
Yeah.
Oh, you had some squatters in there?
Man.
You had squatters. You had Franklin Saint from Snowfall.
Wow.
Staying at the property.
Oh, wow.
it wasn't nice, right? And so some of the groups that toured it were immediately turned off. The construction company that was renovating the 8 units that burnt down had been shot at a few times at the property.
Yeah, they
Right.
got robbed.
Oh, y'all
Yeah,
up in
they
there-
stuck
y'all-
up the
y'all
contractors.
up in there like many men with the vest on and everything. Shout out.
Yes.
So okay, how long did you put? Because I want the people to understand this. Like, for those people that's in the real estate world, basically what they said was they got it on contract, right? So they know other relationships to sell it. So they held the property. That means that nobody can touch it. How long did you have it on contract for?
So we signed a 60-day agreement with
Which
the
is
guy.
good. A lot of people don't play that 60. They would
Yeah.
say, look, I'm going to give you 15. You can do something. I'm out. But y'all got 60 days.
And only
Okay.
$10,000 earnest money.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And the earnest money was refundable for all 60 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That
very,
good.
very unique deal. It's what they call a unicorn deal for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We really wanted to get the deal done because the owner was 83. The tenants were really rough. And, at any given day, somebody could have hurt the guy.
Yeah.
And so he had a daughter in California, and the city had a bunch of issues with the property as well because it was just, it wasn't running well. And so we had to work with the city. We had to work with the insurance company. And we finally got the deal done. It was a hard money lender. The guy, he does hard money for a living, and he purchased the deal from us. I think we had a profit of $230,000 on that deal.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it was nice. But one thing I always bring up to Mark was we went with that gentleman because his assurity of closing, and he had the quickest time frame, which we thought at first, right? But after working with the city and Wells Fargo and everybody else, it took just as long as the other group that had a $4 million offer, which would have netted us $500,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why did it take so long with the hard money?
It was the city.
city.
We had to wait for paperwork.
Oh, okay,
They had
okay.
restrictions on the deal,
Okay,
and so
gotcha.
that had to be released. And so we had to
Okay.
jump through hoops
Oh, wow.
and also present the case that, hey, this place is a violent place. This is an 83-year-old guy.
Right.
We need this done.
But you
now.
went with the bird in the hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it also had a open insurance claim on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
that also
Yeah.
complicated it.
Yeah.
The deal.
From insurance, like a person or
Well,
structural?
the 8 units had burnt down.
Okay.
So the
okay.
the construction company cleaned up on that too as well. They made a lot of money on that for
They
sure,
made
right?
probably like $500,000 or something crazy on only 8
8
units.
units, yeah.
On only 8.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. So 48 units. How many days did you get to close? I know you held it for 60. How long did
Yeah,
it
I
take
think
to close?
we put it under contract late March and it closed I want to say June 15th.
June 15th. So you went over a little bit over the 60s. Did you had extension
deal
on
with
it?
Yep.
We dealt with the city, and he was cool with everything. And as soon as we closed, he drove from Texas to California. I was like, Mel, you sure you don't want to fly? He was like, oh no, I'm gonna take my truck and
Yeah.
The
drive.
83-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah, I
83.
think he had a mortgage of about 1.6. So he walked away with 2 million plus for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know he was glad. He done.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
out.
yeah, he did. He
You
really didn't have
83?
no emotion. He got in his truck and drove to California.
Man, 83, you out. You riding to the sunset with that one.
Yeah. He was a nice guy though. Nice guy. But to say he was 83, he still had his wits about him for sure.
Yeah.
And so we just wanted to do right by the guy. We didn't want to take advantage of him, anything like that.
Yeah.
And so we made sure that we got the deal done. We were satisfied, and he was too.
So, guys, listen, for those who are looking even to try to entertain commercial real estate, here's some of the stories. One of the things about real estate on the commercial side is you have to be a patient person. Can we talk about that? I heard I think Mark told me one time. I think you
man.
told me it took you like a year and a couple months to close this really big deal.
Yeah, we were. I think you're talking about. It's called Brentwood Flats now, but it used to be called Las Mariposas. And so this deal was 180 units. It's in Fort Worth. It's a 1970s construction deal. It has majority. So I think it's all 2 bedrooms, and then a lot of townhomes there too. But this deal, actually, I did it 6 years ago, and so when I did it 6 years ago, it had a lot of problems. The homeless had taken over like 3 buildings. The owner was a family that dealt with hotels. And so they put the mother there to manage the property. And so the mother, since she was so used to dealing with people in hotels, she started trying to do like accept cash. And, you can pay me every week, or if you don't have the money, no
man.
problem. And so the property just started going down and down. And so they called me to try to help them get rid of the deal. They were really, really tough to deal with. And a gentleman that was an engineer in Houston, he stepped up to the plate, and he had to, the family was so tough to deal with. He had to go deal direct with the bank. And the bank was upset with the family because the property was like in dire straits. He bought it for $20,000 a door. And so we ended up selling it. So that's, $20,000 at 180 units. And so then he held it for, about 6 years. He would call me like every quarter. He would come to town. We would have lunch, things like this. And so somebody offered him 11 million at some point. He didn't take it. Ultimately, he made like 10 million off of this deal, blew his mind. Him and his wife came to our office. This was the last deal we did at my last firm prior to opening Onyx.
Gotcha.
The challenge with the deal, we had 3 30-day extensions. And prior to that, remember, we had the big winter. And so it had, a lot of frozen pipes. So there was.
That was during that time.
Yeah. So it was, he had gave a credit, for the insurance and everything. I think it was like around 300,000. And so his wife, she was still in shock that they had, come into all this cash. And so he took that 10 million and put it in a variety of retail deals throughout the Sun Belt. And so, he made sure that he got like 7% cap rates on everything that they bought. So this is mailbox money. So he's done.
Wow.
And so one night he sent me a picture of himself fishing at his new beach house, but in Tiki Island, just here in Texas. And I was like, bro, where are you? He was like, oh, I'm at my house. And he had a big old cup of coffee and a big old smile with some sunglasses on.
Wow.
Like, I'll see you later. You know what I'm saying?
And one of my things, if y'all heard early on the previous one, talk about some highlights. I think, did you say that you, Aaron, you closed the deal with Salata?
Yeah.
Can you go? Because for those people, and I'm kind of curious too, when you're going into the commercial real estate side of things, I kind of want to hear a kind of breakdown of how you go for that deal and looking at that deal and then closing the deal and then kind of getting referrals. But before you go there, just got a wind that we do have a commercial break right now for you guys to stay tuned with Beneath the Bricks, powered by Onyx Legacy Group. We'll be right back to it too. Let's get it. What up, where's your man Dream? What Dream Motivates? This episode has been brought to you by DMU, Dream Motivates University, the entrepreneur school for all entrepreneurs. That's right. Right now, you could go to DMU Experience. Check us out right there. There's a link right there. If you know anybody that's ever wanted to get in any type of entrepreneur network, this is the place. So go ahead, DMU Experience right here. Now back to the show. Welcome back to Beneath the Bricks, powered by Onyx Legacy Group. Aaron, listen, right before we was talking, I'm curious. I know a lot of people are curious because I don't think people understand the money. And I know you. My brother like money. He not fit play. And if y'all can't see his shoes right now, but I don't know, there's some alligator slides. I don't know what's going on. It's amazing. And my boy got the Travis Scott $1,000. It's money in the building. But let's talk about commercial real estate on the side that you're doing. Salata, which is one of my favorite spots. Shout out to Breakfast Brothers, which is one of my favorite spots as well. How can a realtor, why did you choose to go this route? And what are the things that you can look forward to? Let's say, hear some of your slam dunks being with Onyx.
Yeah, I mean, on the commercial side, it's really, for me anyways, I chose the commercial side just because, like I said, coming into the business, I was kind of raw coming into the business. So my communication style wasn't suited for residential, we'll say that. And so, in commercial, it's business driven. It's more analytical. It's either it pencils or it don't, right? And so you can talk differently, and so I was able
to take it or leave it.
Oh, it just
You
you
don't
know,
gotta, you
guys,
don't gotta tap
it's
dance with
business. It's
them.
more of a locker room environment
Got
when
it.
you're
Yeah.
dealing with people,
Yeah.
as opposed to trying to appease someone's wife, and she need to like
Right.
this color,
I need the
and
lighting.
you gotta talk soft, and
Right. Right.
and I was too raw for that, and so
Crown molding.
it
Got
didn't
it.
really work for me,
I got you.
and so that was why I got into the part of why I got into
I
the
hold
commercial
on. I do
side.
got a question for y'all.
Uh-huh.
When I say y'all, it's definitely. I asked Mark this. I said I gotta ask Aaron, brother. Please tell me why y'all never answer the phone. I went to commercial the joints that they had the number on
Oh
it.
man.
Thank you for. I'm like, bro, why do they not? It's just,
um
you're right, because y'all all raw.
it's
Because
it's a number of things. One, like for me anyways, I learned that you can't just stop what you're doing and answer every call.
got you.
Right? So when you call, I might be in a meeting, I might be writing a contract, I might be doing a number of things that I can't just stop and answer every call.
Yeah.
Two, you get a lot of
A lot of calls.
calls of people that just
playing with
got a question.
Yeah, this guy. Matter of fact, the guy finally called. He finally answered the joint I was talking about in Mansfield. He said to me so fast, "It's $60 a square. You ready?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, bruh, how are you? I'm like,
Yeah.
the dude was just super like non-friendly. I'm like, bro, I'll call you back.
After a while, you kind of learn, like, especially when you're dealing with stuff that's $60 a foot and all of that. Like, like if it's not a corporate user, it's gonna be hard for any local user
Correct.
to afford that rent.
Sheesh,
And so, in the beginning, you just like, hey, this is Aaron,
Okay.
but over time, and then you're focused on what you're focused on.
Got you.
Right? So like what you want may not fit in what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's nothing personal. It's just like
So talk to me about this. Which one was your favorite? The Salada deal? I mean,
I got a few my deals ain't as interesting as theirs, but I would say one of my more interesting deals.
Bullets or nothing?
Well, I've had some interesting things happen,
actually,
but
I have.
it's more like so my first ever like kind of what I considered a major deal, I think was like 20,000 or something at the time. It was like in the very beginning, I thought I was like big time.
Oh man.
And I was working with an oil and gas company, and they needed some office space up in Plano, and it was a sublease space that was available through CBRE, and and CBRE is largest commercial real estate in the world, commercial company in the world. So most of their brokers are white, right? And so, but they were cool though.
Yeah.
And so I get there, and I know the numbers, I know like the fundamentals of the business, but I don't know the business, right?
Got you.
So I'm ready. I get in there, and it's I'm sitting in their little conference room at CBRE waiting on them, and they come in. Two white dudes come in. One of them is the broker. One of them is the guy who was representing the company for the sublease. They were working together. So we sit down. They introduce, hey, and the guy just starts talking. He said, first thing he says is, so you ever heard of Mount Vernon? I'm like, the city? He was like, no, the house. It's like, nah. It's like it looks like the White House. Blah blah. So on White Rock Lake. So okay. It's like, yeah, I own it. It's like, okay. So I don't know where he's going with this at the time.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay. So he keep talking. He started telling me about he was having problems with armadillos tearing up his Deutsche grass on his putting green in the backyard. So he started going. And he does this for about 10 minutes. So then he's like, all right, so yeah, let's talk about the deal. By this point, I done kind of forgot all my stuff that I came in prepared to do. And I peeped, I said, oh, he don't work with me. Okay. So I mean, and then he tells me, they give me these crazy terms because I wouldn't tell them who my client was, but I told him it was a corporate user that was an oil and gas company. Because if you tell them, I was afraid they'll go try to steal my client or, just do something that didn't have my best interest. So they tell me that, okay, they're gonna need to put up a $25,000 deposit, and it'll burn off $5,000 per year over a 5-year term. I said, okay. And they were so confident that I wasn't going to do it, or that my client wasn't going to be able to do that, that they were like, I tell you what, you can get them to do it. I'll let you come bowl in my bowling alley. We got bowling. We got a bowling league that we do, and Congressman Ron Kirk comes over, and all these other people he starts naming. I said, all right, well, I'll be back. So I go tell them. They do it. So because they needed the space, and they had the money, so everything goes through. So I come back, boom, okay. So yeah, let me know when we going bowling. And that's kind of goes back to what we were talking about as far as I wouldn't say racism, but just kind of like they don't expect you to.
Did you find yourself code switching when you talk about the armadillos?
Man, I was so confused. I didn't even say. I'm like, what is he? I'm in my head. I'm like, what in the world is he talking about?
Shout out to the armadillos. I'm gonna throw you off right now, the armadillos.
So I learned. I peeped. I said, okay, the best brokers tell the best stories.
Best stories.
That's how they sell the deal. They twist you up in this whirlwind about this story.
Hey, that was a nugget.
You don't know what's going on. You like, what in the world is he talking about?
Y'all better get your storytelling up.
And then they give you the bad news about how much it costs.
Courtland, give me a slam dunk, man. So you've been this 1 year celebratory right now. Shout out to you guys once again. What's your favorite? What's your highlight, man? You was that one day y'all went on and got that wire, that direct deposit. But man, you thinking like, ooh, that was a doozy.
This was, I want to say maybe late October, November. Just pounding the phones, trying to, find deals. And I came across this 19-year-old kid who was a student at USC. And so his dad owned a lot of real estate in California. They were in a 1031 situation, which if you guys don't know, 1031 is when you buy one asset and you take the money from that asset and purchase another asset so you don't get capital gains tax. And so they were in a 1031. So they just bought a deal in Longview, Texas. Very random from them living in Los Angeles. So it was an apartment building. And so had been calling. And so finally got a hold of this kid, or got a hold of his dad. And his dad was like, oh, I'm yachting around right now, but my son, you need to call him and talk to him.
Hold on. Let's reverse the term, brother. Hold on. I'm yachting around. You know what I'm saying? I think it's time for Onyx to get a black boat and yacht around. That's dope. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, so his dad said he took his boat from Florida and went back up to California the long way, right?
Wow.
And so I didn't, mean too much to me. I just wanted to call his son, right? So I call his son. It's this 19-year-old kid at the time. This is why relationships are so important, because Mark had forged a relationship with this guy named Siv, who does commercial real estate out in California. And just so happened, Siv is actually their main broker in California. And so after talking to the young guy for a second, he mentioned, yeah, we typically use Marcus and Millichap, and we used to, work at Marcus and Millichap. So I said, oh yeah, who do you guys use? He said Siv. So I knew we, kind of had some similarities, some relationship there. So long story short, there were 7 groups that had already done proposals on the asset to let them know how much they thought the asset was worth. And he was like, if you can give me something in 3 days, we'll review it and I'll let you know. Right. So we turned around this proposal in 3 days. It was a $6.4 million apartment building. And I think we had a 4% fee on that. So that comes out roughly to about $260,000.
Okay.
And so, fast forward, like we said, these deals take a long time. COVID hits March 13th. So we're in a bind, right? So we're trying to
look at Mark like, I remember.
Yeah. So we were in a bind trying to figure out how to make the deal work. This guy from California, another guy from California, sold a duplex in California in Beverly Hills and had enough money from that duplex to do a 1031 on a 140 unit apartment complex.
Wow.
And so he comes along, and I mean, it was like pulling teeth from this guy. He was very astute, owns a lot of assets here in Dallas, and he was just a shrewd businessman, right? And so we're going back and forth, and on the day of closing, there were some discrepancies with he got a credit from the seller to give him $15,000, and the seller said, if I give you this credit, you have to go with my insurance guy. It's like, okay, no big deal. But the part about him going with the insurance guy wasn't in the document that they signed. Just the $15,000 credit. So 19-year-old kid's brilliant, studying at USC, so on and so forth. So the day before the closing, he's looking at the closing paperwork, and he's like, all right, we gave him this $15,000 credit, but he went with Gary Howard. Who the hell is Gary Howard? He didn't go with our guy. Call the title company and tell them we want that $15,000 credit returned back to us. So it's my client. So I call the title company. I'm like, hey, this didn't, pan out the way he wanted. He wants this $15,000 credit, returned back to him. So the title company was indifferent. They're like, okay. Fast forward to the day of closing. The guy from California calls me, and I'm actually out playing golf. I'm like, all right, the deal's about to close. Everything's good. And he just goes in. $15,000 credit for insurance was removed. I don't care. You know what? I'm not buying the deal no more. On the day of closing. Yeah. It was rough. So
we on the golf course. Put the balls up, man. I'm out.
Yeah. So long story short, man, after a bunch of back and forth, I mean like 3 hours of back and forth and calming this guy down, we ended up giving him the $15,000 and an extra $10,000 to kind of soothe him.
Just to kind of.
But yeah, man, that was one of my favorite deals, and that was a deal that really gave me a lot of confidence in this business, even more, right? Just on a personal standpoint, and the size fee, right? So we ended up doing that deal. I think it panned out to be about $240,000.
Nice.
Which it's at some of those larger firms, the commission is broken down different, but it was still a great payday for us. And it was fun.
Highlight reels, guys. Listen, we just wanted to show you that in this commercial state that you can do very well. And you couldn't appreciate the sunshine if it wasn't a little bit of rain in your situation. With that being said. Or
tornadoes, hurricanes, all that.
Listen, man, this is Beneath the Brick podcast. We definitely want you guys to stay tuned, stay chimed in. An amazing just learning experience for you guys to understand the commercial real estate business side of things when it comes to Onyx Legacy Group, located in Dallas-Fort Worth. But we are in, let's go ahead and list the cities we're in now.
D.C., New York, Florida, Utah. I'm not sure about Nevada. And we're working on Georgia right now. I may have missed a couple. Hawaii.
Let's go. Did we miss anything, Courtland? Any other cities we got coming up?
I think Virginia is one we missed.
Virginia.
Yeah.
So listen, guys, if you are any of these cities right now, please hit us up ASAP right here with Onyx Legacy Group, Beneath the Bricks podcast. I mean, man, dream motivates for my brothers with the Onyx Legacy Group. Definitely stay tuned for the next episode. Like, share, and subscribe. We out.